So I would like to ask Gwyn to introduce herself and her technique.
Great. Thanks so much, Gemma. Thanks, Brendan. It is great to be here with everyone. I'm Gwen. I've worked in the field of facilitation for 15 years, and I specialize in virtual engagement. And in my session, I will be sharing practical techniques for getting all the voices in the Zoom room, even the most quiet ones. It's going to be experiential, and you'll learn these techniques by doing them yourselves. So these techniques will help you increase engagement, inclusion, and they're techniques that you can use straight away, and there's no previous experience required.
Thank you, Gwyn. And then Michael, if you would like to introduce yourself and the technique.
Yeah, hello guys, my name is Michael Okuma. I'm Nigerian, and I'm country lead for an organization called 100. And well, I mostly work in the human rights sector and do a lot of learning facilitation, but mostly in the nonprofit sector, of course. And today I'll be sharing some of my experiences managing the 100 network in Nigeria. And I'll be talking to you about how we can find common goals when you have a group of very diverse people coming from different walks of life, different professional backgrounds, and different geographical settings. So that's basically it.
Thank you, Michael. Very exciting. InHive is part of the 100 network in the UK, so that's really exciting. And then last but not least, Nick, would you like to introduce yourself and your technique for today?
Yeah, thanks so much, Gemma. So I'm Nick, and one of the co-founders of Changemaker Exchange, which is a global community of almost 1,000 young social entrepreneurs and activists around the world. One of our core principles is co-creation, and we try and co-create everything together with our members. And so I'll share a little about this and talk you through a very concrete session that we did on how to co-create a vision with your community members.
Thank you so much, Nick. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the breakout groups with Gwyn and Michael and Nick. So if any of those techniques interest you, you will then be allowed to join the breakout room that they are leading. And you will be in that room for about 25 minutes whilst they present and give some advice. And then you'll be able to ask your questions and make it as interactive as possible. So we're just going to open up those groups.
So for anybody who's having trouble finding them, you can also just tell me which group you want to go into. But if you haven't done this before, you should be able to go to the bottom of your screen, check breakout rooms. There's an option, and you'll see Nick's room, which again is co-creating vision, Gwen's room, which is getting all voices in the Zoom room, and Michael's room, which is aligning purpose and vision. And just select which one you want to go into. If you're having, again, any trouble, just let me know, and I can try and move you into a room as well. Okay, so I see some people are starting to move. Okay, good.
Yes, Michael, are you okay? It's a really great way for us to connect and continue this conversation. But what I would like to do is invite Gwyn, Michael, and Nick just to give a 30-second sort of the top tips that they've been sharing in the room, because we know that we weren't all in the same room. So it'd be great to sort of hear what are the top tips that you were giving out to those members. So we'll go in reverse order. Nick, would you like to go first?
Yeah, happily. Thanks everyone who joined. It was a really cool conversation. So we talked a little on co-creation in general, and then the very specific technique on co-creating a vision, which I can share with everyone, not just who's in the breakout, the template for, which I hope would be useful. And then we talked a few key learnings on co-creation, like finding that sweet spot between top down and bottom up, and hierarchical, non-hierarchical decisions, and about finding what works for you and your own context, and also talked about the need for strong facilitation for co-creation to work. So yeah, I keep it brief with that, but happy to share more, and I'll share my LinkedIn in the chat.
Thank you, Nick. Michael, would you like to just share quickly some top tips you were giving in your room?
Yeah, so when you work with people from very diverse communities and settings, and who come from different professional backgrounds, it's often difficult to build a network that is effective. You know, so some of the things that we talked about would be trying to be as participatory as possible, and I shared a bit about the spiral method that, you know, which I won't go over. Maybe I'll share the materials with you, and you can share with everyone else. Okay, yeah, so try to be participatory, try to be inclusive, because there will always be voices that are louder than others, and sometimes the little voices matter, and every opinion should count. And finally, making sure the experience is rewarding or fun for everyone, and that way people want to find common ground a lot faster. People want to work together better, and hopefully the results that are achieved would be beneficial to everyone and would have a greater impact. So yeah, I think that's all we talked about in a summary.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. And Gwen.
Great. So thanks to everyone who also joined the session on getting all the voices in the Zoom room. We had a very interactive participatory session on just looking at, we went through kind of like a number of exercises, then we lifted the curtain to see what kind of facilitation techniques were kind of running in the background. So things like, you know, using the intro prompts, Gemma, which I saw you use at the beginning of this session, or Brandon, and in our case, like narrating the responses and really kind of greeting people and welcoming them into the group. We did a little something where we turned on our mics to say hi, so you can hear people and see who's ever on the screen, giving people options, you know, to share verbally or in the chat, sharing your agenda, your aims, and your agreements, so people really have that compass of what's going on in the session. Looking at some of the rules and the guidelines in the discussion, so time boxing, coming up with particular, you know, ways of ordering. You know, let's hear from the youngest participants. Let's hear from, you know, however you define those criteria. And sharing the prompts and the instructions in the chat as well. I think one of the things that I you know, if there was anything that I wanted that my group to take away from our session, it was the 3 Gs. And the 3 Gs being getting voices heard early on in the session, giving people options, and guiding the process. You are all the facilitators of your group. You are the guides. So steering the conversation and guiding the process.
Thank you, Gwen. And it's good to know that we were using some of those techniques today. Hopefully you will be able to see them in action. So I would just like to thank our 3 experts today. So thank you to Gwen and to Michael and to Nick. Thank you all for coming today. I really hope that you learned something, you're connecting beyond this. We want this Enact Festival to be the start of something. So please do stay in touch. We really want to take this forward and create something together. So thank you all for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
And if I, Gwen, may use one of my favorite closing techniques to get all voices in the room. A few of you have seen it already. I love it when, as everybody signs off, before you click the leave button, just to give us a wave and unmute yourself and say thanks and bye. So go ahead.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
And
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.